Have you ever questioned why you experience night awakenings? What is the meaning of waking up at 3 in the morning, 4 or 5? Is it just a coincidence, or is there something more behind these episodes in the shadow of the night? In this video, we will explore their spiritual meaning and how they can convey important messages from God. To begin with, it is interesting to note that even the Bible talks about sleep cycles and how God can use them to communicate with us. In the book of Genesis, chapter 28, and in Proverbs 10:22, it tells the story of Jacob, son of Isaac. It is said that he had a prophetic dream while sleeping outdoors. In his dream, he saw a ladder that joined heaven and earth, with angels ascending and descending through it. He also saw the Lord. Upon awakening, Jacob realized he had been in a sacred place, and he called it Bethel, which means house of God. He also made a vow of loyalty to the Lord and offered him a tenth of everything he owned. The story of Jacob and his prophetic dream is crucial in Christianity for various reasons. Firstly, it shows how God communicates with his children through visions and dreams, revealing his will and promises. Secondly, it reveals the connection between heaven and earth, symbolized by the ladder, which suggests communication between God and humanity, as well as the promise of divine blessings and protections. Jacob's story also teaches the importance of recognizing God's presence in all places. Despite Jacob sleeping in the open, he realized he was in a holy place upon waking. This reminds us that God is everywhere, and that we should be open to his presence and guidance in our daily life, wherever we are. As for awakening in the early hours of the morning in response to God's call, Jacob's story teaches us to be attentive to signs and divine communication even during our sleep hours. Just as Jacob had a significant encounter with God while he was sleeping, we too can experience moments of revelation and spiritual connection during the night. In those hours, it is possible that God calls us to prayer, meditation, or reflection, and we should be open and receptive to his voice. Regarding the book of Exodus, chapter 3, verses 1 to 15, here we find the story of Moses, the liberator of Israel, who had a supernatural vision while shepherding his father-in-law's sheep in the desert. Moses saw a bush that was burning but not consumed. Approaching to observe this miracle, he heard the voice of God calling him by name and ordering him to take off his shoes because he was treading on holy ground. God revealed to Moses his name, I Am, and entrusted him with the mission of freeing his people from slavery in Egypt. The story of Moses and the burning bush is an emblematic tale in Christianity that offers valuable lessons on the relationship between God and humanity, as well as on the divine call and the mission of every believer. Firstly, this story illustrates how God can reveal himself in a supernatural way, even in the most unexpected moments and in seemingly ordinary environments, like the desert. The burning bush that Moses sees, which is not consumed, is a sign of divine power and the sanctifying presence of God in the midst of daily life. The interaction between Moses and God in this scene also underscores the importance of humility and reverence in the face of the divine presence. When God orders Moses to remove his shoes because he is treading on holy ground, the required respect is emphasized. Approaching God, he teaches you to be aware of the sanctity of his presence and to approach him with humility and reverence. The revelation of God's name as I Am is significant as it underscores the eternity, omnipresence, and authenticity of God. This name reveals the very nature of God as the supreme being who has always been, is, and will always be. Moreover, by entrusting Moses with the mission to free the people of Israel from slavery in Egypt, God demonstrates his faithfulness and commitment to his people, as well as his power in keeping his promises. Just as Moses had a supernatural experience in the desert while tending sheep, we can be called by God at any time and place, even when we are sleeping. Another case is found in the book of Daniel, chapter 2, verses 14 to 49. In the story of Daniel, the prophet of God who had the ability to interpret King Nebuchadnezzar of Babylon's dream, the king had a dream that tormented him, but of which he did not remember. He ordered all the prophets of his kingdom to tell him the dream and its meaning, under penalty of death. None of them could do it, except Daniel, who asked the king for time to pray to God and receive the revelation. God showed Daniel the dream and its interpretation, which consisted of a large statue made of various metals, representing the empires that would dominate the world until the arrival of the kingdom of God, which would be eternal. Daniel told the king the dream and its meaning, and the king was astounded and recognized that Daniel's God was the true God. Nebuchadnezzar's dream is important to Christian life for several reasons. Firstly, it shows us that God is the only one who knows the future and reveals it to his prophets. Daniel was able to interpret the king's dream because God showed it to him, not because of his wisdom or ability. This teaches us to trust in God and his word and to seek his guidance and revelation in our lives. Furthermore, God can also communicate with us through dreams, visions, impressions, or in other ways to reveal his will, to warn us of dangers, comfort us, encourage us, prophesy, and for many other things. Therefore, we must be attentive and receptive to his voice and not ignore or despise his messages. It is important to note that night awakenings are a very common phenomenon that affects millions of people around the world. According to some studies, 45% of adults wake up at least once during the night, and 30% experience this more than once. There are many possible causes for these awakenings, such as stress, noise, temperature, pain, reflux, sleep apnea, etc. However, there are explanations that go beyond physical and psychological reasons and relate to spirituality. What exactly does waking up at a certain time of the night mean? Is there a hidden message that we need to decipher? Each hour of the night has a specific meaning that is related to our emotional, mental, and spiritual state. And here is the most important part of the video. Pay close attention because we will now explain the exact meaning of the precise hour at which you wake up at night and how you can take advantage of that moment to improve your life. If you wake up between 21 and 22, it means that you are worried about something or that you have some unresolved issue. You may feel guilty, anxious, or frustrated about some situation that involves you. What you need to do is to relax, breathe deeply, and let go of what is bothering you. Remember that God is with you and loves you. You can recite this Bible verse, "Cast your burden on the Lord, and he will sustain you. He will never permit the righteous to be moved." Psalm 55:22. If you wake up between 22 and 23, it means you are undergoing an inner healing process. It's possible that you have suffered a loss, a trauma, or an emotional wound that has marked you. What you need to do is forgive and accept what has happened. Remember that God heals and heals your wounds. You can recite this biblical verse. He heals those who have a broken heart and binds their wounds. Psalm 147:3. If you wake up between 23 and 24, it means you are searching for your purpose in life. It's possible that you might feel confused, unfulfilled, or empty inside. What you need to do is reflect on your gifts, talents, and passions and how you can use them to serve God and others. Remember that God created you with a plan and a destiny. You can recite this biblical verse. "For I know the plans I have for you, says the Lord, plans for welfare and not for evil, to give you a future and a hope." Jeremiah 29. If you wake up between 24 and 1 in the night, it means you are experiencing a spiritual awakening. You might feel a deeper connection with God, with your higher self, and with the universe. What you need to do is take advantage of this moment to pray, meditate, and listen to the voice of God. Remember that God speaks to you and guides you. You can recite this biblical quote, "Call upon me and I will answer you, and will tell you great and hidden things that you have not known." Jeremiah 33:3. If you wake up between 1 and 2 in the night, it means you are facing an inner conflict. You might have some fear, doubt, guilt, or resentment that is preventing you from progressing. What you need to do is face your emotions and free yourself from what hurts you. Remember that God forgives you and frees you. You can recite this biblical quote, "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest." Matthew 11:28. If you wake up between 2 and 3 in the night, it means that you are releasing negative energy and toxins from your body. It is possible that you've eaten something that made you sick, that you have drunk alcohol, or that you have been exposed to some contaminant. What you need to do is drink water, breathe deeply, and relax your mind. Remember that God cleanses and renews you. You can recite this biblical quote, "Wash me, and I will be whiter than snow." Psalm 51:7. If you wake up between 3 and 4 in the night, it means that you are receiving divine guidance and angelic protection. It is possible that you have some problem, challenge, or decision that worries you and for which you need help. What you need to do is ask God to enlighten you and accompany you. Remember that He listens to you and responds to you. You can recite this biblical quote, "Do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand." Isaiah 41:10. If you wake up between 4 and 5 in the morning, it means you are preparing for a new day and a new opportunity. It's possible that you might feel a motivation, an inspiration, or an intuition that pushes you to act. What you need to do is to thank God for the gift of life and plan your goals and projects for the day. Remember that God blesses you and makes you prosper. You can recite this biblical quote, "Tell me, O Lord, of your love in the morning, for in you I have put my trust. Show me the way I should follow, for to you I have lifted up my soul." Psalm 143. Feel free to come back to watch this video whenever you need to know the spiritual meaning of each hour you wake up. We wholeheartedly hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like it, share it with anyone who will benefit from it, and subscribe to the Pearls of Wisdom channel for similar content. See you in the next video.